Hello, welcome to The Modern Consultant. I'm your host, Mark Aarons, and today I have the pleasure of interviewing me because this is going to be a more casual episode. We are now about 10 episodes into the podcast, and I wanted to do this solo episode to actually talk about 10 things that have happened since launching the podcast to give everyone just an update on how things are going and where things are going to be going from here. So, thing number one. I just got the notification this morning inside of Slack that we are now a top 10% globally ranked podcast. That is according to Listen Notes, the biggest search engine for podcasts in the world. We're up to, I think it's like 5,053 downloads. So I just want to say thank you to everyone who has downloaded, who has listened. And at the time of this recording, I haven't even gotten the videos up on YouTube yet like I want to. I want to get the videos on YouTube. I want to get them on Instagram and a couple other channels and stuff like that to just get all of this into the hands of people and ears of people who want to hear it and be able to benefit from it. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I hope you all are having fun with it. And that brings me up to point number two, which is some of the guests behind the scenes, as well as some of you all listening in, have written in and asked me, what's it like to actually launch the podcast? And I wanted to take some time to answer that question because this moment will never come again. You know, I will never be at a point where I am 10 podcast episodes into launching a podcast. And I almost want to immortalize this moment so it can be a bit of a time capsule. And also for anyone else who's thinking about doing this now or in the future, they will kind of have my experience to, you know, if they find it valuable, to just see what it's like. And I will not hold anything back. It has been stressful because I am doing client work. I have many projects happening in tandem with this. We're redoing the website. There's quite a few things happening on the back end business-wise. And so for any business owners or independent consultants who are listening to this, yeah, it can actually be, you know, it could be a difficult juggle because the other thing that has also happened since launching the podcast is actually immigrating my parents to the United States. That is huge. And it is a gift. And I've also been taking some time to just spend time with my family because that is the whole point of this entire process. It's something I've been working on now for like 5+ years. And I'm just very thankful to be able to have them here, you know? And so what is it like? Should you do it? Well, it really depends on whether or not you have support. I am very thankful to have excellent support in the way of, you know, Brandon Fong. If you listen to episode number 2, where he interviews me, he helped me to get everything set up and, you know, running and off the ground and stuff. And so I find that I personally work best when I have a bit of support, and it's the same thing with my clients and stuff as well. It's not that this stuff can't be done solo, but if you have help from someone who's been there and done it, then things just run a whole bunch smoother. And so that brings me up to actually thing number 4, because thing number 3 was immigrating my parents to the United States while all of this is happening. Well, actually, let's talk about thing number 3 a little bit. For some of you, whether you're an independent consultant or you're leading a team or you're thinking about going from a full-time job into the world of consulting, regardless of where you are, we all have multiple plates that we need to juggle in our life, you know, and some people do it better than others. You know, some people are very systematic and just, you know, I am somewhat systematic. I think I can always get better at it, but I didn't want to delay the launch of the podcast or working with clients or anything like that, because I actually wanted to take it upon myself as a challenge to be able to see, okay, I'm always going to have multiple things happening in life at once. How do I get better at managing those things? Because for us to be able to get to wherever it is that we want to go in life, life is ultimately about a game of leverage. And how do you then set up systems to be able to create more leverage for yourself so that you can have a greater impact on others, as well as, you know, leading the quality of life that you're wanting for yourself, you know? So I see extra stress sometimes as the mental weight, you know, in the gym of life that allows us to be able to level up. And I'm trying to look at the opportunity in that way. And I've been just blown away by the support from people who have listened, shared the podcast, and also just like the quality of guests that are saying yes to coming on the podcast. There are some amazing guests that are coming up that I can't wait for you to hear from. It's going to be a really fun ride, and I hope you enjoy listening and watching as much as I enjoy doing these podcasts as well. I find it to be very fulfilling. And with that, let's actually get on to thing number 4, which is balancing this with particularly the work side of things. Yes, there's the family stuff, but there's also client work, and we're developing a program, and we've got some very nice promotional opportunities coming in the pipeline. Again, I find for myself that if you're not already familiar with the concept, there's this great article by, I think it's on the blog of Y Combinator, that talks about having a maker versus manager schedule. And makers tend to work in big chunks of time. Typically, the day is divided into just 2 pieces, AM and PM. In some cases, it's just one big work block for the day. I find I operate best on like a maker schedule, but with having many projects going, I definitely have to get better at the management side of things. And a manager's schedule might be in as small of increments as 15 minutes at a time, or 30 minutes, or an hour. You can just glance at somebody's schedule and see if they are generally falling more towards the maker side of things versus the manager side of things. Because I have to split my time across multiple projects, and so I have management days where I will batch a lot of phone calls as well as video calls, as well as with the podcast recordings. I try to do those on those days as well. And I try to have like 2 or even 3 days per week for deep work, where I get to, either do client work, or I get to develop product or, program development and things of that nature. That tends to be how I like to balance things in that way. There's a whole lot more to it, but that's it at like the high level. Thing number 5, things I want to do next with the podcast. 1, I want to get the video version up. I think I alluded to this earlier. But yeah, I know a lot of people are great and they love like audio podcasts, which I am very thankful for, because, we wouldn't have these downloads and everything if that were the case. I'm actually personally a video podcast kind of guy. Like, I actually really enjoy watching video podcasts. And even if I'm on the go, for whatever reason, I like to have like the video going as well, even if I'm not watching it all the time. And I almost see it as like a TV show, and I find it extremely engaging that way. And so, because of my personal interest in it that way, I know I'm wanting to get the videos up as well. And then also, video as a format allows us to do interesting things, because if you look at the audios on Spotify or iTunes, it's usually like the full length of whatever the podcast is. But if we get it into a video format, then we get to share highlights from it as well. And that's really good for being able to get more of the message out there, because there's so much, not everyone's going to listen to the long form content, but for some of the short form content, it's really great for people to be able to discover it and then subscribe from there. And so for more people to get helped from just all of the incredible knowledge that's being shared by all of our guests on the podcast. And so that's one of the really big motivators for wanting to do a video version of the podcast. All right, so thing number 6, I also mentioned this earlier, but redoing the website. I right now feel embarrassed to share my website with people, because it doesn't quite reflect what we do right now or the level of work that we're doing for our clients. We have so many case studies and testimonials that are just not up there right now, and I'm wanting to change that. I'm also wanting to get a podcast page up, because right now if you go to our website, you can't even find the podcast from the website right now. And so, that's coming up, and it may even be live before this podcast goes live, actually, because I'm working on all the copy and everything for that as well. And just really getting out of this, the cobbler's, kid has no shoes thing, which happens to us in the world of marketing. Sometimes we're always so busy doing marketing for clients that we don't always give ourselves the same treatment that we would our clients. And so I'm trying to change that. And just even behind the scenes, like that's been going really well because we have a brand identity and a brand guide and kit and stuff that has been done. And when we share it with our podcast guests, it really helps them, and it's inspired some of them to actually go and work on their own brand guides and stuff. And so that's really cool. I'm very, very thankful for that. But the website, getting that done, that's a big thing that needs to be happening next. Now, thing number 7, we're also working on did I mention that we have a lot of projects? We're also working on a book for our clients. And it is going to be a collection of the greatest insights that we've learned, and also our framework that we have been testing over the last couple of years for our clients. And I'm really excited to get that piece out there because I know it's going to be helpful for quite a few people. When I was getting started as a consultant, I would find different consulting websites in different industries that I just really respected how well they communicated their process, their methodology. And I found it really helpful and really inspirational to look at different business models. And I am wanting to put that out there, not just to be able to help clients, but also help all of the modern consultants out there as well. Because I think the more that we share the way that we're doing things, it's like art. You can look at art and be inspired to then create your own art. Yes, there is a science and everything to it, but if you just copy it, then it's not even like science or art, because science means that you're actually going to be building on the work that has come before it. Whereas art, you're going to be making something your own. And the more art that we create and the more science that we also put out there is the better that the world does altogether. And so I am a big proponent in sharing the best of our work, the best of our content, in a way that is also respectful of the methodologies that we then share with our private clients, because I'm not going to give away for free what they then had to pay for. Like, that's just not fair. And so, but I want to be able to share as much as I can. And so that is one of the inspirations for getting the book out there as well. And we will, as with anything, it is a science, it is a test. And so we're going to be upgrading it as we go along. If you have an interest in that, once we launch it, there's going to probably be a link to it wherever you're listening or watching this, if you're wanting to find out when that goes live. And as always, the best way to be able to find out about this stuff is to join our email list. So that said, thing number 8, guests that are on the show. I have had a ton of fun interviewing the guests that we've had so far, and just even with the guests that we've already booked before the time of this recording, but those episodes haven't been released yet, and some of them haven't been recorded yet. We've got some phenomenal guests that are coming up, and some of them will be modern consultants, but not in business consulting. For example, one that's going to be coming up, it's going to be on topics of sleep. I also have some other consultants in the world of health that I think will be very interesting for us to talk to, because one, we can talk about business models, but we can also talk about the practical content of their expertise to be able to help improve the quality of our lives and stuff as well. And so I'm very excited to bring those folks on. Many of them have been friends for years. I've been clients of theirs in some cases. And I think it's going to be just a really good time. So stick around and stay tuned for that. Thing number 9 is around the topic of more interviews. Who do you want me to interview next? Now that I actually know that people are listening to this, I can ask you questions. And you can help guide, steer the ship in the direction that it needs to go. We have, again, just from the people who have written in, phenomenal. I'm blown away by just the quality of our, people who are listening to the podcast. And I want this to be a community and not just a one-way conversation. And so I want to hear what's on your minds. Who should I be interviewing? How can we make this better? How can we make it more useful for all of you? If you're enjoying the show, awesome. Rate it on iTunes, rate it on Spotify. And then once we get it up on YouTube, go ahead, subscribe, hit the like button, all those things over there. And let's shoot this thing to the moon. Can't do it, couldn't have done it without your help. And we will not be able to do more without your help as well. So thing number 10. Ooh, the behind the scenes of the flubs and everything. If you're watching the video version of this, you're seeing a crumpled, a backdrop behind me, because before I recorded this, I was trying to get the backdrop ready for, just experimenting with different set design, studio design, lighting, that sort of thing. Even though we're audio only right now, again, the intention is for this to be video only. And I've been experimenting with, okay, well, how do I get this done while I'm also traveling and on the go? And, it'd be nice to have a consistent background, consistent environment and stuff like that. But who knows? We'll see. It is a grand experiment. If you all have advice on how to do this thing, well, I am more than open to advice right now. But like I said on the very first episode, it is going to be about progress over perfection. And so we are building this thing as we fly it. And for all of you who are listening and who are also growing your own consultancies, who are trying to get to the next level, I can only hope that you are practicing that as well, because the only thing that is constant in life is change. And when there's no more change, you're dead. So you might as well get comfortable with, operating in the wind, nesting in the gale, so to speak. If you're in an arena of any kind, boxing or any kind of martial art, like, you have to be able to rest while you're in the fight. You can't wait until, like the ring, the alarm bell goes off, for you to be able to take, a rest. And then also if you're just like in the street, and you're in a fight, like there's no bells, like you have to be able to rest while you're on the go. And so that's the way that I think about it. And that's the way that I'm approaching it. So to all of you who have made this possible and continue to help me grow this and continue to help me impact more people, I just want to say thank you to every single one of our guests. It has been a pleasure. It has been an honor, and I can't wait to see where we go from here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next episode. Hey, thanks for checking out the show. If you liked it, go ahead and hit the like button and also subscribe so you don't miss another one. It also tells us which ones that you like the most so that we can then do more interviews like that. If you want to go from idea to implementation though, especially if you're wanting to productize your expertise so that you can scale your impact on your clients and of course grow your business, then join our email list. There we're going to talk about how modern consultants can productize their expertise so that they can have a greater impact on the world around them and live life on their terms. If that's up your alley, I hope to see you on the other side. Talk soon.